William Kovac, and the topic is cold chain monitoring and whether or not monitoring is done too much or too little. So, William, my first question is, can you talk about what is the reason or the requirements for environmental monitoring?
Oh, thank you, Dustin, for the question. I mean, the main reason for environmental monitoring is to ensure the consistent product quality, and on this way, basically assure or fulfill the regulatory requirements which are needed to market product in a certain country.
And is there a guide for how often or how much companies should monitor the cold chain?
Yeah, basically, there is a guide that you have to monitor, and from US and from Europe perspective, that the product quality is not in a question. But there's not really a guidance or requirement how much the company needs to monitor their shipments. So that's something for warehouse monitoring. If you have a solid state facilities, so you can use the thermal distribution of the temperature as a result of the temperature mapping. While you have identified hot and cold spot in the warehouse, the transport monitoring is a little bit different, a little bit challenging, because you do not have a solid state facility, but a facility location is permanently changing.
Does GlobalWorks use any secret for correctly monitoring shipments during distribution?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem to be a secret, but we recommend our customers, first of all, to use and apply the monitoring on a unit load. What does it mean, unit loads? The unit load is basically the package or the load which should be transported under the same environmental condition. So if the unit load is a container or pallet, you just need to put the 2 or 3 monitors inside, and that's you fulfill the requirement perfectly. Box. And you have a lot of small boxes which are transported on the same condition, like under the same airway bill or bill of loading. You might challenge this approach to put in each small box a small monitor. So if you have many small boxes, we recommend to use a statistical approach based on an accepted quality level to identify the correct temperature in the shipments, assuming that the entire shipment is a unit load because it's transported under the same condition, let's say airway bill under the 228 or airway bill like the 1525. So for such cases, GlobalWorks had developed an accurate usage for temperature monitoring based on a combination how many annual shipments you ship for a certain destination and how many sampling size. So if you apply the correct number of annual shipments and a correct sampling size, at the end you have a 99% certainly or a certainty or probability that the entire shipment is okay.
And do you have any final recommendations for the audience?
Oh, I would recommend do not be afraid from the monitoring. A lot of companies are a bit afraid and relaxed because they thinking if they do monitor more, they will discover more issues. At the beginning, probably, but if you do not monitor, you do not know. So potential failure can be identified or corrected only by the identification. And GlobalWorks have implemented a couple of systems with a certain companies. And if there is any open question, we're very welcome to help them.